They called her wolfless, worthless, a nobody born to serve and die forgotten. But the night they marked her for execution, something happened that no one saw coming. The Alpha raised his blade, then froze. Her scent hit him like lightning. His wolf whispered one word, mate. Now the pack's execution turned into a war. Secrets buried in blood are rising, loyalty is cracking, and love is no longer sacred. Because this isn't a fairy tale, it's a curse wrapped in desire, betrayal, and rage. If you think you know how this story ends, think again. Hit subscribe, because when the Alpha caught her scent, everything changed. The night air was cold and heavy with fear. The pack gathered in a half circle, eyes glowing under torchlight as she was dragged through the dirt, barefoot, bruised, and trembling. The Beta shoved her to her knees before the Alpha's throne. The crowd hissed her name like venom. Wolfless, traitor, poisoner. The Alpha heir lay dying in the infirmary, and someone needed to pay. She was the easiest target, the one born without a wolf, without a purpose, without a voice that mattered. The council didn't even allow her to speak. The verdict was decided before the trial began. Execution at sunrise. But she didn't beg. She looked up once, straight into the Alpha's eyes, and saw nothing but rage. He was a beast in human skin, his power pulsing through the room. When he rose and drew his blade, the pack fell silent. One strike, one order, and her life would end. He stepped closer. The scent of iron and smoke filled the air. Her heart thudded so loud it broke the silence. He lifted the blade and then stopped. His pupils blew wide. His body trembled. The wolf inside him snarled, tearing through his chest, demanding control. The Alpha stumbled back, breath uneven, confusion flickering in his eyes. Everyone watched, frozen. The Alpha dropped his sword, his gaze locked on her like he'd seen a ghost. The Beta moved forward, ready to finish it, but the Alpha's growl ripped through the night, shaking the ground. "Touch her," he hissed, "and you die." Gasps broke across the circle. The pack didn't understand. Neither did she. But then his next words shattered everything. His voice was low, broken, and wild. "She's my mate." The torches flickered. The Beta's eyes widened, and somewhere in the shadows someone whispered, "That's impossible." The execution was over. The nightmare had just begun. Morning came heavy and tense. The air outside the Alpha's quarters buzzed with whispers and fury. The council had gathered before sunrise, demanding blood. They wanted the girl executed publicly to restore balance. The Beta led their charge, his tone dripping with venom as he reminded everyone, no wolfless girl can carry the mark of the moon. The Alpha appeared calm when he stepped out to face them. His voice was cold, steady, and commanding. "She isn't free. She's under my custody, interrogation only. Until I get the truth." It was a lie. Everyone knew it. But no one dared challenge him. Except the Beta, whose glare burned holes through him. Inside, she listened from the corner of the Alpha's room, every heartbeat echoing in her skull. Through the window, she could see the pack training, moving like an army preparing for war. She felt like the reason everything was falling apart. Later that night, the Alpha knelt alone in the temple, his voice trembling as he prayed to the moon goddess. She crept closer, unseen, hearing every word. "Tell me what she is," he begged. "Why her scent calls to me like fate. Why my wolf bows when she breathes." His voice cracked. "I can't lead them if I'm cursed." Her chest tightened. Cursed. That's what he thought of her. Back in the shadows, the Beta made his move. He slipped into her room with a silver dagger, eyes full of hate. "You're poisoning him," he hissed. "The Alpha's breaking, and it's because of you." He lunged. She screamed, grabbing his wrist by reflex. Then everything changed. A blinding light erupted from her hand. The Beta dropped the dagger, roaring in pain as his skin burned where she touched him. The smell of smoke filled the air. He stumbled back, eyes wide with horror, staring at his blistered palm. "What are you?" he gasped. Before she could answer, the Alpha burst in. His wolf was already surfacing, eyes glowing, voice trembling between rage and awe. He looked from the Beta's burned hand to her glowing mark. The air crackled. "She didn't hurt you," he said softly, almost to himself. "You tried to kill her, and she survived." The Beta staggered out, shaken and terrified, muttering that she was a monster. The Alpha turned to her, jaw clenched, chest rising with ragged breaths. He knelt slowly, his eyes never leaving hers. "No," he whispered. "You're not my curse." His voice darkened. "You're something older." The flames in the fireplace flared on their own, shadows twisting across the walls, like something ancient had finally heard its name again. Sleep refused to come that night. Every time she blinked, she saw flashes, eyes gleaming silver in the dark, moving just a second before she did. Her reflection no longer obeyed her. It watched her. Sometimes it even smiled when she didn't. By dawn, her nerves were shredded. She stumbled to the mirror again, hoping it was just exhaustion. But the reflection tilted its head the other way, too fast, too deliberate. Its lips moved soundlessly before the glass cracked right down the center. The Alpha stormed in after hearing the shatter. When he saw the shards glowing faintly, his expression hardened. Without a word, he summoned his guards and ordered silver restraints. She struggled, panicked. "I didn't do anything." "You don't have to," he said quietly, locking the chains around her wrists. "Something inside you already has." He locked her away in an underground cell, far from the others, where even her scent couldn't spread. But as the hours passed, whispers began to ripple across the pack grounds. Wolves were howling out of sync, their instincts thrown into chaos. The moon rose pale and strange that night. And then she escaped. The silver burned through her skin, yet it didn't stop her. The chains melted, smoking against her mark, and she ran. But when she reached the edge of the forest, the pack found her, eyes glowing, teeth bared, caught between worship and fear. They circled, confused, howling as if answering two leaders at once. The Alpha arrived, furious and desperate, his power cutting through the madness. But the closer he got, the worse his wolf became, half drawn to her, half terrified. The air was thick with instinct and memory. He grabbed her shoulders, forcing her to look at him. "You don't understand what's happening, do you?" She shook her head, breath trembling. "Tell me." He hesitated, eyes clouded with something deeper than guilt. "Because I've seen that scent before." His voice cracked. "On the night my first mate died." She froze. He continued, each word sounding like a confession. "We performed a ritual, to call back a dying soul, to save her. The spell failed." His hand shook as he touched her cheek. "But you smell exactly like her." The world seemed to tilt. Her heart slammed against her ribs as the realization tore through her. She wasn't just his mate, she was the echo of another soul, and in that moment the mirror of the moon above them shimmered, her reflection no longer human. The silver-eyed wolf was real, watching, waiting. Then the howl came, hers but not hers, splitting the night clean in two. The pack was restless. Whispers spread faster than wildfire. Half of them feared her. The other half wanted to worship her. The moon had started turning red, and no one could sleep. The Alpha called for the elders, desperate for truth, but only one stepped forward, an old woman with eyes gone silver from age and guilt. "I was there," she said, her voice trembling. "The night your first mate died." The Alpha froze, his jaw tightening. "Speak." She looked at the girl, then at the mark on her wrist. "We tried to save your mate's wolf. The ritual was forbidden. We were told no human body could hold two souls. But she begged us to try." The Alpha's voice dropped low. "You're saying—" "Yes," the elder whispered. "We placed her wolf into a vessel. Into that girl." The room went silent. The girl felt the ground slip beneath her. The flashes she'd been seeing, The whispers, the mirror. It all made sense now. There was another soul living inside her, one that didn't belong. Her hands started to shake uncontrollably, her breathing fast and sharp. The mark on her wrist glowed brighter, pulsing with its own heartbeat. The Alpha took a step toward her, but she backed away. "No," she said. "You used me. You made me her cage." Before he could answer, the sound of a horn cut through the night. An intruder had entered the grounds. The Alpha's rival, Corin, stormed into the clearing with half his army behind him. His voice thundered across the field. "You made it a corpse," he shouted. "You brought a ghost into your pack and cursed us all." The pack tensed. The Alpha stepped forward, claws sliding out, fury burning in his eyes. "You want my throne? Come take it." The battle exploded under the blood moon. Teeth, claws, blood. Wolves tore through the dirt. Corin was faster, fueled by rage and betrayal, and he landed a strike deep into the Alpha's shoulder. The pack howled, frozen in fear. The Alpha dropped to one knee, blood staining the ground. She ran toward him, screaming his name. But then it happened. The mark on her wrist ignited, burning through her veins. Her vision blurred. When she blinked, the world looked different, sharper, colder, alive. And then she wasn't alone inside her body anymore. The other wolf, the one buried deep inside her, rose. Silver eyes burned through her own. Her nails turned black. Her voice deepened into a growl that wasn't hers. She launched forward, faster than air, ripping through Corin before he could even shift. His body hit the ground with a sickening crack. The entire pack went silent. The blood moon glowed brighter, reflecting off her silver eyes. Then, just as quickly, the light faded. The wolf receded. She fell to her knees beside the Alpha, shaking, covered in blood that wasn't hers. He looked at her, breath ragged, half in awe and half in fear. "You didn't just save me," he whispered. "You killed a legend." And for the first time, she felt the other soul inside her smile. But it wasn't kind. The aftermath was chaos. Blood on the soil, smoke in the air, and silence heavier than death itself. The rival's body still twitched where it fell, and every pair of eyes in the pack turned toward her. "She's not one of us," someone shouted. "She's a witch," another screamed. The Alpha growled to silence them, but his pack didn't bow this time. Fear had replaced loyalty. They looked at their leader and saw weakness, an Alpha defending the thing that killed one of their own. By nightfall, the pack had split. Half wanted her dead. The rest demanded the Alpha step down. He made his choice. He fled. With her. Through the forest, under the bleeding moon, they ran until they couldn't breathe. When they finally stopped, he collapsed against a tree, clutching his wound. She knelt beside him, trying to help, but he pushed her hand away. "Don't touch me," he said softly, eyes full of conflict. "I don't know if you're saving me or finishing what started years ago." His wolf howled inside, begging to mark her, to claim her. But his human side saw the blood on her hands and the silver glow that didn't belong. He turned his face away. "You're a weapon, and I was the fool who unsheathed you." She stepped back, the words cutting deeper than any wound. When he finally fell asleep, she wandered. The forest was cold, quiet, too still. Something pulled at her chest. A strange tug, familiar and painful. She followed it through the mist until she found it. A grave. Old, covered in vines and moss. Her knees buckled when she brushed the dirt away and saw the name carved into the stone. Her own. The air turned heavy. Flashes hit her all at once. Blood, fire, chanting, the Alpha's face above her as she screamed. The same eyes, the same touch, the same betrayal. She wasn't just a vessel. She'd been sacrificed. The memory slammed into her like a storm. She saw herself bound in ritual markings, the Alpha standing over her, blade in hand, whispering words of devotion before driving it through her heart. He hadn't done it to kill her. He'd done it to save his kingdom. Her breath came ragged, fury mixing with heartbreak. The trees seemed to whisper around her, echoing the truth she'd buried for lifetimes. When she stumbled back into camp, he woke to find her staring at him, not with fear, not with love, but with something ancient and dangerous. Her voice was calm, almost cold. "You didn't just betray your mate," she said. "You created me." The wind shifted. The moon dimmed. And for the first time, the Alpha didn't recognize the woman standing before him. The fire crackled between them, throwing shadows across his face. She stood just beyond the light, silent, watching him like a stranger. The mark on her wrist pulsed faintly, reacting to the tension, to the truth clawing its way out of both their chests. "You knew," she whispered. "You knew that grave existed." The Alpha's jaw clenched. He didn't deny it. He looked tired, haunted. "I did what I had to do. The curse was spreading. If I hadn't sacrificed you, the entire kingdom would have fallen." Her voice broke. "So you killed me to save your throne?" He flinched. "I killed you to save everyone." She laughed, short, bitter, like the sound of something snapping. "You tell yourself that to sleep at night?" She stepped closer, eyes gleaming with fury. "You didn't save them. You cursed us both." The wind howled, tossing sparks into the air. His wolf stirred beneath his skin, desperate to reach her, to beg forgiveness. But the man inside, the one who made the choice, kept silent. Her memories rushed back in jagged flashes, the ritual circle, the blood moon, his hand trembling as he drove the blade into her heart, whispering, "Forgive me." The same words he whispered now. She stared at him through tears that refused to fall. "You don't get forgiveness," she said. "Not this time." He moved toward her, but she raised her hand, the mark on her wrist glowing bright enough to burn. The mate bond between them snapped taut, the air crackling with raw energy. "Stop," he said hoarsely. "If you break it." "It was never real," she cut in. "It was rewritten. A lie to bind me to the one who destroyed me." The light from her mark flared. Pain tore through both of them. The bond screamed, shattering like glass. The Alpha fell to his knees, gasping as if his soul had been ripped from his chest. The ground trembled, the trees bent under invisible force. Above them the moon turned blood red, spilling light across the forest like a wound opening in the sky. The mark on her wrist spread up her arm, glowing veins crawling under her skin. Her body arched, her scream echoing with two voices, hers and another. The air rippled. The ancient wolf buried inside her clawed its way free, no longer a shadow but flesh and fury. Her eyes opened, silver, blinding, unearthly. Her wolf form emerged, nothing like the others, larger, radiant, alive with fire and vengeance. The Alpha reached for her, whispering her name, but she no longer heard him. The curse he'd thought he ended had only been waiting. And now, under the bleeding moon, it was awake. The forest burned under the red moon. The air split with howls that weren't human. Wolves turning on each other, their minds twisted by fear and bloodlust. In the center of the chaos stood her, the vessel no longer human, the wolf goddess reborn. Silver light poured from her skin, eyes glowing like molten moonfire. Every step she took cracked the earth beneath her feet. Her voice was layered, hers and the ancient ones, speaking as one. They betrayed the bond. They burned the balance. Now they pay. One by one the traitors fell. Beta, elders, warriors. None could stand against her. She moved like judgment incarnate, claws slicing through shadows and loyalty alike. The pack that once hunted her now begged for mercy. From the ridge the Alpha watched, his body broken but his resolve unshaken. His wolf raged, begging to fight beside her, but he knew this wasn't her anymore. It was the goddess that lived inside her, using her pain as fuel. He staggered forward, ignoring the wound tearing through his shoulder. "Enough!" he roared, voice echoing like thunder. "If you destroy them, you destroy yourself." Her head turned slowly. For a heartbeat, her eyes flickered, her real self fighting to surface, but the goddess's voice answered instead. You were never meant to lead. You were meant to lose. Lightning split the sky. She lunged. He didn't defend. He didn't move. He simply opened his arms, let her claws pierce through his chest, and pulled her close enough to whisper, "Then let me lose it all. For you." The light exploded between them. The curse, the mark, the fury. It all shattered in a single heartbeat. The moon bled white again, the storm fading to silence. She stumbled back, gasping as the power drained from her body, the goddess fading with the dying glow. The Alpha fell to his knees, blood pooling beneath him. She crawled to him, shaking, her hands pressing against his wound as if she could hold the life in. He looked at her, eyes no longer golden, but clear, human, peaceful. "I finally see it now," he whispered, voice breaking. "Why the moon hid your scent." Tears slid down her face as he smiled one last time. The forest went still, the fire dimmed, and in the silence that followed, the faint thud of a single heartbeat echoed through the night, hers, steady and alive.